Friday. Welcome everybody to another episode of the No Anonymity Podcast. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How you been?
Good. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, sir. For those you don't know, this is the my movie guy. Go to him for movie advice, what to watch, what not to watch. He's been on the show before. Today we are talking about this is Pride Month, of course, for those of you who don't know. In this platform, we welcome everybody, all creeds, religions, Democrats, Republicans, atheists, Christians, Jews, Muslims, short people, tall people, it doesn't matter. You all welcome on this platform. Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know what was going on with my microphone earlier. I don't know, man. I had to, I'm self-taught with all of this stuff that I'm doing. Nobody showed me anything. So I have to go and watch a video and do stuff like that to learn how to work a lot of the equipment. But we good. You hear me good and clear, right?
I can. Yes. Thanks.
All right. Yeah. So I wanted to have you on the show to talk about your situation. I thought it was really important after I'd done some research myself. Are you familiar with the Trevor Report?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. It talked a lot about youth dealing with depression. Not being able to go to their parents. It's a LGBTQ survey they did in 2022, and it talked about the suicide rate, and it compared the suicide rate to families who shunned their children away compared to families who like kind of embraced it and helped them. It was a big difference. So I wanted you to come on today and tell your story, man. The floor is yours, brother. How did it all? At what age did you even know that you wanted to, that you didn't like girls, or not like girls? You weren't interested in girls.
You can call me whatever. I do identify as gay, but I didn't start off that way. It was a completely different time. It was a very long time ago. It's actually 34 years ago now. But even before that, I grew up in a very religious Christian household, and very sheltered, and we moved around a lot. So I didn't really get a chance to really get very close friends. I was it was my sister and I against the world. But I honestly, and this is like, I don't know if I'm the only one like this, but I honestly felt growing up, once I knew I was different, and we're talking like maybe 11, 12, 13 years old, like when you start having your adult sexual feelings or whatever,
right?
I knew I was different. I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't want to tell anybody. I was too scared to tell anybody. I didn't know what gay was. I honestly never met anybody. I didn't know it existed. And for the love of God, I thought I was the only one in the world going through this.
Right.
Seriously, I wasn't trying to be selfish. I just thought that I was just screwed up somehow. And it wasn't until about I was 17 that I started realizing there's other gay people out there, and I started realizing it. So I finally realized that's what I was, and that I'm not alone. And I finally came out to my first person when I was 18. I just graduated from high school, and it was a girl. And I was actually afraid of coming out. It was, oh, by the way, just for reference, this is 1992.
92.
In the summer of 1992. This is when it still wasn't, I mean, gays were just coming out of the closet into the mainstream media. It really wasn't still accepted. Republicans, not to be political, were really anti-gay. That was a big platform of theirs. Not that Democrats were like really on our side at the time. They were just neutral or trying to stay out of it. Republicans were definitely trying to pass bills, be anti-gay, and it was very big for the platform of the Republican Party to be against it. So I was actually kind of afraid to come out. So when I did finally come out to this girl after high school, I told her I was bisexual, which actually I didn't even believe. I just was too afraid to admit that all I did was like guys.
Right.
That was like in June of 92. And then a month and a half later, I entered college. met my first real gay guy, and in college, it exploded. There was just so many other people like me, lesbians, gays, bisexuals. It just opened a whole new world, and I was finally free. So that's pretty much how I came out. It was a relief too, because I thought I was different. I thought I was not only just different, but broken. And of course, I didn't have any support of my family, and I couldn't tell my family for many years, or a couple of years down the road. I didn't tell them, so that I was still in the closet to my immediate family. But everybody else I was out.
Everybody else you were out, but how did you even, did you have a feeling that you were attracted to the opposite sex?
Opposite sex? No,
I never had to the same sex. I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, especially when I was like 14, maybe around that time. I kind of liked other guys. I'd rather have been with other guys than other girls, and I'm not sure if that's another guy thing, that like guys like to be with guys, but usually they kind of break out of that when they're like 14 or 15. You know, they kind of start exploring girls and not thinking they're so icky or whatever.
Right.
I didn't, but I actually dated girls in high school because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have sex. You're supposed to go on the prom. You're supposed to date. And so I did all that stuff just because I was supposed to. Not anything I wanted to do, but that was the culture. And then you brag to your friends.
Right. Now, did you come from a religious family?
Very, very religious. And when you get to it, I have definitely a story of what happened when my parents found out, but that's 2 years down the road. But yeah, I actually, and there's like a lot of experiences that I remember. Like I was at camp, and some of the other guys would tease me, like say, "Oh, hey, honey," or whatever that to me, because you never know if you're a closeted gay teen, that other people can see it faster than you can.
Oh, okay.
Other people see it way faster, and you think that you're straight acting. You think that you're hiding it. No, everybody else pretty much knows before you do.
Right.
And so the other guys would tease me, but it would be hard to be teased because I didn't know if they were being serious, and there's someone else like me. So I wanted to give in, but then I'm also afraid of being beat up. Okay. Be bashed or whatever.
Right.
So those were really tough times.
Right, I'm sure it was. Now in high school, did you have any body you could confide in, like counselors, anything like that? Was any
Zero.
Available?
Zero. I suspected my long after high school. I suspected my teacher was gay because he literally wore chaps, leather thing. He had a big mustache handle, what those called?
Yeah, a handlebar mustache.
Handlebar mustache, and he talked with a lip.
Okay.
Like, okay, everybody, get their feet. So everything was a lisp, and I'm like, oh, there's something wrong with him. And boy, I would regret saying that later. Regret saying it now, but that's what I felt at the time. I thought, but that's it. No, I know that it's totally different nowadays. There's gays, there's gay unions, there's more acceptance, probably even before high school, maybe even junior high or below that. Not back then. No one was out. Not a single person was out. You didn't talk about it. It's just, if you were, you don't talk about it.
Right. So it's still kind of taboo for teenagers in high school going through it, because even in 2020, 2020, 60% of LGBTQ students wanted to go and speak with counselors, but there were no resources for them in schools.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is according to that Trevor report that I was telling you about. I did a survey, and a lot of them, they didn't have anybody they can go, confine in and speak with and talk with. And this is just 2020. So wow. It's still for the people that may look at the LGBTQ in a different way, they're still fighting a fight to have the same resources that everybody else have. So,
Well, whenever I don't make donations, literally, I always donate to the Gay Youth 1 in 10, I believe it's called.
Okay.
My work actually matches whatever donation that we give. And I always give to the youth because I'm always afraid for them. I'm always afraid that they will commit suicide or think about suicide, or am I allowed to say that word on here? I'm sorry. Harming themselves or whatnot. Or just like change their direction of life because they think that that's what society wants them to do. So I always donate to those, the 1 in 10, I believe it is, to make sure that youths get the help that they need.
Right.
Because I definitely was in a glass bubble myself. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah, they said that report also said that 45% of the youth also considered attempting suicide over the past year, and this was from 2020 to 2022. This study was done, so not too long ago.
I can tell you, it was hard for me. I personally cried many nights because I was like, I'm never going to find someone like me. I'm all alone. I can't tell my parents. I can't tell my friends. I can't tell anybody at school. I am absolutely alone in this. And so I didn't know where to go. And it was long before internet. It's 1992.
Right.
Long before internet, before you could social clubs. AIDS was a huge thing at that point where, and also we have a lot of people comparing gays with pedophiles. And that if you're gay, that you're an automatic pedophile, which that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate that. I really hate that. But that's why another reason why a lot of people stayed in the closet, or they changed. They just got married when they and had children when they weren't attracted.
Right.
But yeah, it was hard. And then when I finally came out, it just floodgates. It was just fully accepted at college. It was like night and day from my entire troubled past to the future. It was I was I was only in college for 2.5 years. Best years of my life.
Best years of your life, huh?
Yeah, I just had so many friends, and I kept meeting more and more gay people. It was almost like half the college was gay, which is absolutely not true, but it felt like that because I kept meeting more and more people and going out and clubbing and all that kind of stuff. So it was a great time in my life.
Or where you were able to just be yourself and not have to, be looking over your shoulder and acting a certain way around people.
Yeah, with the exception of my parents for those 2 years, yes.
Now, your dad never had a feeling, never was like, hey, my son.
They started to question it. Especially since the very first guy that I met became my best friend, and we were inseparable for those whole 2 years, pretty much. And so my mom knew that he was gay, and she even told me at one point, I really wish you wouldn't hang out with him anymore. And I'm like, why not? Well, because he could rub off on you. What do you mean rub off on you? He could probably make you gay, Steve. And I said, oh, great. I go, great. Not only is it a choice, but it's contagious.
It's contagious. Okay.
So no, I'm like, no, he's not going to make me gay or whatever. But then it wasn't really long after that. They finally asked me point blank, sat me down, and my heart's racing. I know what's coming. And they said, are you gay? And I said, yes, I am. And all those lovey-dovey stories that you hear in the movies and everything, no, nada. They said, okay, great, you have a choice. Change or get out. And I was still living at home. And I'm like, well, I can't change. I'm not going to change. So I have to get out. So how much time do I have? So they gave me a certain amount of time. And I found my own place. And it actually taught me a lot of about being an adult. Taught me a lot about being rushed into adulthood, bills and that kind of stuff. So it actually was almost not a bad idea. Now that was definitely a different time. My parents eventually came around, both of them, to the point where they said I could bring boyfriends home, as long as I don't make out in front of them. That's what they said. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that with a girl. That would be kind of weird to make out in front of your parents, just blatantly right in front of your parents. I mean, I don't know what kind of person does that. But they came around. In fact, now my mom has since passed, but my dad and I have been really close as we've probably ever been. And he has absolutely no problem with it. And his new wife, my stepmother, she even has a gay child of her own, so she's completely comfortable with that. So
gotcha.
It's wonderful now.
Now, at what age was this when they sat you down? Were you like 17, 16?
I was 18. No, I was 20. I was 20. I came out at 18, and it was about 20 when they finally confronted me, because they finally realized that I was.
Okay. What gave them a hint? Because the friends you were bringing over, or
it was a friend. It was all my friends were gay, and
okay.
and they just didn't think that I would hang out with so many homosexuals. So
yeah,
they just put two and two together, and I don't know, maybe I was a little loose. Maybe I was clubbing a lot, almost every night. I was having the best time of my life. And well, also I was underage, so I was going to like after hours. It started at 1 back then, until like 3 or 4 in the morning. So I was doing that a lot, and so they probably put just 2 and 2 together.
Right. And so now, was your dad? Was he furious? Was he angry? Did anybody cry?
You know, I didn't realize until much later. It was more my mom. She was more furious and angry. She also never liked any kind of feminine behavior in men. So like whenever I even jokingly acted feminine, she would get very uptight and very upset. And I think my dad just kind of went along with it. But she was more upset than anything else. In fact, she would snoop. Oh, well, that's probably another reason why they found out. They would snoop in my room and discover things on my computer or whatever, like emails that I sent to other guys and stuff. But my dad just went along with it, and also was a religious reason. That's why they kicked me out, was religious reason. Well, again, they kind of realized after a couple of years of this that we weren't really talking at all. If they want to see me, they have to accept me, and they did. I was actually blown away, and in fact, after that, we got more and more. We don't really talk about it that much. I don't have a partner currently. Right. But they wouldn't mind if I did. And they're always interested when I do have a partner.
Got you. But what fascinates me about religious people, didn't David have a lover in the Bible?
Yeah. But they kind of tuck that away. It depends on what version of the Bible is translated. So there's a lot of things in the Bible that if you read it this way or if you read it this way. And also, I always thought one of the funniest things is that Jesus never ever brought it up. I thought this is the most important thing ever, and according to people that read the Bible and take it out of context. But Jesus never crossed his mind to bring it up at all in any of the scriptures. There's 4 different scriptures or gospels for Jesus, and not once in the 4 different points of view did he decide this is an important matter for him to bring up. But other people make it such a big deal.
Right. Okay. You Bible thumpers, don't come for me now. I have a lot of pastors coming on the show. Don't come over.
Oh, I apologize. I'm not trying to make any fight or break down anybody. That's just the way it was at the time. I know it's a lot different now. And again, my dad would even come on here and tell you how much he supports his son. Doesn't bother him at all.
Right. Did you feel bad at seeing your parents hurt inside? Like when you left, was you like, damn?
No, I was pretty angry that they would reject me. Okay. And because I've been in a community for the last 2 years in college that everybody embraced me, everybody accepted me. I could be myself for the first time in 18, 19, 20 years, my first time ever really being me.
Right.
And my parents just turned me away completely and decided to throw me out in the street. So, I was really furious with them. I finally got over it because I became independent. But the longer I was gone, the more they missed me, and the more that they realized they may have made a mistake.
How long a gap was that before you spoke with your parents?
2.5 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
I mean, when we had the talk, we talked, but other than that, we've never talked, and I was fine with it because I had moved on with my friends and they supported me. Okay. And my lovers or whoever I was with supported me. But they finally realized they missed their son, and they want him back. And I'm like, I'm not changing, so we're gonna have to work on this.
So Holly, she said, how did your sister react?
She was 100% supportive. In fact, she not only was 100% supportive, she got me my first apartment because she was 2.5 years older than me, so she's been in this game for a while.
Mm-hmm.
She helped me move out. She helped me get contacts. She helped me get a job. She never at first wanted to talk about it, but here's the great thing: is like she is like, I have one gay thing in my apartment, that right up there.
Okay.
And that's from her. That's from her. She bought me that welcome thing that I'm actually supposed to put it outside, but I don't want anyone to steal it. But she bought that for me. But her entire like office, and she's straight. She's completely 100% heterosexual.
Mm-hmm.
Her entire office has gay things all over it: gay figurines, gay books, gay authors. She celebrates Pride more than I do, unfortunately. She really does. She has a lot of gay friends. No, I don't believe any of her children are gay. That they haven't like come out that I know of. But she's really embraced the lifestyle that the community, which is really nice. At first, she just didn't want to talk about it. She was like, "Don't ever bring up sex or whatever. I love you, and you are who you are." And then she was upset with parents, for ditching me. But she was very supportive. Thanks, Holly.
Good. Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you have any siblings?
I just had the one, my sister.
Just the one sister. Okay.
Yeah, and it was just me and her against the world because we moved around so much as kids, just constantly. Like every 2 years, we moved around, and I kept getting best friends, and then boom, we were gone.
You come from a military family?
Nope.
No,
just my parents just had different, I don't know, luck with jobs and places to live, and I never got into their finances. I don't want to say anything about that. That's their business.
Right.
But I know that they just had different. It's luck with the finances. I know there's something about that, and we had to keep moving.
Yeah.
And moving schools, and I kept getting pulled out, and so I never really got to develop very long-term relationships with people.
Yeah, so you had to keep starting over and everywhere you went. Okay.
But luckily, me and my sister, again, it was me and my sister against the world, and we had the closest bond ever since. She kind of took care of me too, because she was 2.5 years older than me, so she was kind of always protective of me, and would threaten to fight anyone that tried to cross me.
Right.
I was a skinny little kid.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think people have such a problem with the way other people live their life?
I don't know why they want to put someone else, why does it matter? Someone else's life really matters to them. I think the more you hate from somebody else is what you see within yourself. So whatever it is that you outwardly hate and tell people that you hate so much about somebody else, you're trying to hide or deflect from yourself. So a lot of times that the biggest homophobes end up being gay, and they, whether or not they ever admit it to themselves, they end up being gay. And the more you're outwardly against it, people are like, "Why are you so against it?" Yeah, because there's probably something within them that they don't like, and they're trying to deflect.
Yeah, I had a cousin, and out of the blue, he would just start saying stuff, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Just always saying stuff, always talking about gay people. So years and years go by. I'm like, damn, he always just out of the blue, he'll just say something. So one of my friends I bumped into, he said, "Hey man, I gotta tell you something." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, your cousin tried to pick me up." I'm like, what do you mean pick you up? He said he tried to pick me up, and I cussed him out. I said, "Oh, now I'm thinking what you just said." I'm like, that's why he was always so, and I'm talking about hateful, just saying mean things out of the blue. We wouldn't even be talking about stuff like that. But then I said, okay, he's battling something.
They're always trying to deflect. They're trying to, and it's why would somebody go out of their way to make it their mission to hate a certain group of people, no matter what it is, race, gender, sexuality? You just go out of your way to hate a certain group of people. Why do you waste so much time on such hate? But yeah, unfortunately, that still happens.
When did the Pride movement even start? When did that?
If my history, wow, I'm going to lose points for this. It was Stonewall back in New York, if I'm not mistaken. They had a Pride event, or they had a parade, and they were hosed down by the police, if I'm not missing my facts up. And ever since then, the community embraced that and said, we're going to fight back, and we're going to make ourselves known. And then a lot of little things happened to bring us more in the spotlight, and we had got more allies. We got more allies, like in the media, and not just media, but like Hollywood, getting stars to not embrace it, and then also on TV, and not being such a joke, because like a lot of older movies made gays as a joke.
Mrs. Doubtfire and Tootsie. Was it Tootsie? Was that name?
Tootsie.
Yeah.
That actually was pretty open-minded, because they never actually made fun of anybody. They're like, whenever somebody was approached, like the woman on Woman, well, he's really a man but dressed as a woman, and he would go after Jessica Lange. They never actually showed homophobia. They just said, "Oh, I'm not like that." So they kind of actually really embraced it, and I thought that they did a pretty good job back then, especially back then. And of course, the Golden Girls really helped, because they really always were pro-gay.
They were?
Yeah. Oh, big time. So, and that show was way ahead of its time. It started in the 80s, ended in the 90s. So that was a really good show that they kept embracing, diversity, and letting people be who they are, and very strong. So shows like that, and it definitely, of course, Will and Grace, eventually later on, really helped bring it to the mainstream and say, hey, we're not demons. We're not all pedophiles, which, again, is one of my irritants.
That's interesting that you say that. Do you think the pedophiles use that as their way of getting in? You know what I mean? Like, do you think that, because you have a lot of guys dressing like girls just so they can go in the little girls' restroom. They don't even identify as a trans.
Oh my God,
but they're doing that just to go in there. Yeah. I think that gives like a bad light towards the people who actually, right?
Yeah, for trans people, yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's absolutely terrible. Those people, none of us would ever embrace them. In fact, we would think that they absolutely need to be jailed. But yeah, I guess some people would do that, but they would be sick to begin with. And anybody that's a pedophile is already sick, and probably definitely needs help. I don't know what could be changed or what could be happened. I don't know. I'm not a doctor or a psychologist.
Right. Yeah. What kind of you ever had anybody come to you for like advice, like how they want to talk to their parents and come out? You ever gave them any type of friendly advice on how to do that?
Yeah, I've actually had a lot of like same age people that I know that their children came out, and what do they need next steps, or what do they do? And so like I talk to them, or parents that I'm friends with question their children, and then they want me to talk to them. So I've done that several times in the past. Talk to them, and I definitely embrace that too, because again, I was completely alone. So I really want to be there for anybody that needs the help and guidance.
Yeah. Some of the parents trying to cast the demons out. I heard they, having prayer for them, and
I wouldn't know anybody like that, because I wouldn't have somebody like that in my life.
Right. Well, these are people's parents doing that. A lot of
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I haven't had any children come to me and friends. I mean, they're not friends necessarily, but I mean, the children of my adult friends. So I don't know many children outside of like when I have adult friends.
Right.
Their own children.
Right. Now, I was also doing research about how the houses started. Like, so a lot of the kids were, like you said earlier, got kicked out. So they went and they started these like they call them like house of what's the name? Daphne or something. Like these houses, and they would have mothers and fathers, and and it would be like a real family because their own family discarded them in a way.
I believe that's also part of the charity that I give to whenever I do make my donations. And luckily, again, my work will match whatever donations, so that's even better. But yeah, I give to those kind of organizations that will house runaway teens that I don't know. I'm not out in the work in the big, huge community these days, unfortunately. And I don't know what the statistics are. I really hope there's not that many parents. From my own point of view, I see that the world is really a lot more open-minded. But I don't know. I don't live in deep South Texas where, there could be a football community and, you just don't be gay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing against Texas or whatever. I just not singling them out. But I'm just trying to think of a small knit community like that's focused on like sports or whatever, and or military or whatever, and you can't be gay.
Yeah, yeah. I have gay people in my family, and we just like coming up. We didn't look at them a certain way. They was just who they were,
Nice.
And that was it. Nobody said anything. Nobody shunned them, and they were just, because to me, like they were like, we had a girl cousin and she was one of the guys. Like we looked at her as like one of us, like playing football with us, riding bikes. And we didn't know, we were young. We didn't know any different, until she got older and stuff and started to change her name and stuff. We still looked at her as him the same, like,
Oh, they are so lucky.
Yeah.
Really envy that.
But I don't know about them going to school. I'm pretty sure they had some problems going to school and, that, but as far as family, no problems or anything like that. No. Yeah. So the people who do have people like that in their life, they are pretty lucky. Have somebody to talk to and confide in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that there are people to support out there and groups. And we're not right now in Pride Month, and at work we're doing a lot of Pride community activities and meetings and such. And I believe next week we're going to have a huge celebration in our big meeting room. So that's really nice.
Okay. Somebody said they want to call in and ask you a question about, what did they say? Can I ask them a question? I don't even understand this. Yeah, you got to call in. You got to call in.
Okay.
They said they scared to ask. Can I ask him how the whole thing goes with those feminine and who the man in their relationship is? I guess is what they're saying. I guess they're saying who, how would you know what role? If
Well, actually, it's kind of confusing for me myself because there's people that consider themselves or identify as masculine, and there's people that are consider themselves feminine.
Gotcha.
But I have met, and there's, I don't know if you know the terms, the top and the bottom. On the top is the more masculine. Usually, generally, this is all general.
Okay.
Usually, the top is the masculine guy wants to be the man in the family, and then the feminine guy is the bottom, wants to be the female role. That's not the case for the most people I meet that are feminine. They're the top. They actually take control in sexual situations. And then I met a lot of masculine guys that want to be dominated. And it just blows my mind because I can't wrap my fingers around it. But that's how diverse our community is. It doesn't matter who you are. Everybody's different. We don't put labels on people. You're what you want to be. If you want to be whoever you want to be. It's like I'm more attracted to masculine guys, but I consider myself, one way or the other. And so there's no real defining it, but you could definitely tell by people how they act around you. And if the more comfortable they are, the more you're going to see what the real are, how they really act.
Okay. So it just depends on the two people that meet, to see who takes
and then personally, I actually change myself. If I'm in the presence of a masculine guy that I like, I suddenly become a little more feminine. I become a little more loose and loosey-goosey. But then if I get in the presence of a feminine guy that I like, suddenly I my voice deepens and I start like my shoulders get tighter. I don't know why. I feel like maybe instinctively I have to be the man.
Okay.
So I kind of change myself whoever I'm in the presence of.
They said they were scared to ask that question. Hey, this is what this platform for. We don't shun anybody. You can ask any kind of question you want. Yeah, she could have.
I'm completely open.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you answered that question. What do you say to people who say you were not born like that? And I can say for a fact that my little cousin I was telling you about earlier was born like that.
Yeah,
came out like that. She ain't just because lots of people. I heard a guy say it's a choice. I'm like, it maybe for some people, but I don't think so for everyone.
No, when my very first question right out of my mouth is, when did you make your choice to be heterosexual? When did you start saying, hey, I'm going to like women now? Right. Like I have a choice and I'm choosing women. When did you choose that? And not one of them can say, I chose it at this particular point. It just happened. Well, because you're always that way. You're destined to be that way. That's the way you were born. That was the way you like.
Right.
So I always choose, like, when did you choose the gender that you like?
Right.
You know, and they never can say. They just say it's normal. Well, it's normal for you. This is normal for me. But that's my first question right out of my mouth is, when did you choose to like girls?
Right. Yeah.
When did you make that choice and say, you know what, I'm going to actually like girls instead? No, you just kind of started. You always kind of had that feeling.
Right. You know, my only problem is when people think they got like a heaven and hell to put other people in. That's the problem I have, and not just with sexuality, but with anything. Like some people think one sin is greater than the other, you know, and those kind of people are the ones that kind of rub me the wrong way. She said, what exactly does it mean to be queer? Yeah, we hearing that a lot. Because see, when I was coming up, queer was like a bad word. You couldn't say queer.
Same here. Queer was always considered a slang, a derogatory slang against us. And now people are actually embracing it. And actually, it's now more mainstream now, where people say, we don't care if you're queer or not. And it's not a bad word anymore, especially from us. I think one of the best things that we did was we embraced it. The more people called us queer or bufffuckers or whatever, I'm sorry, whatever they called us. The more we embraced it and said, and we did a little snap or whatever and just fought back. And so then we took the power away from them and their mean words.
Hey, sort of like black people with the N word. We kind of like, they embraced it and, you know, that was prevalent. Yeah.
Took the power away from them.
Exactly.
And what they're trying to do against you.
Right.
But what is it? The question is, what does it exactly mean to be queer? Just be yourself.
What's free. What's the difference between she said, what's the difference between gay, lesbian, and queer?
Well, gay usually identifies as men pretty much only liking other men. Lesbians are women that only like other women. Okay. And queer means I don't want to have either label. Just I am different from heterosexuals. Okay. I'm not heterosexual. So I could be queer, could mean I'm bisexual. I prefer women this week and I go after women. And then sometimes I if I see another guy, I will go with him.
Yeah.
I don't want labels. I don't want to be called any one of these. So a lot of times it's just easier to say, just call me queer.
Okay.
And then now we can just be friends and we can get that behind us.
Now, is that the same? What is pan? A pan? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I did that one. I don't know. That one is new to me. Okay, so I'm like I said before, I kind of aged myself with the story of coming out in 1992.
Yeah.
So I've had that. I think that they just don't want to identify. I honestly, I'm not really good with that word. Unfortunately, I've actually had friends that my friend in Ohio. One of my friends in Ohio, one of his children came out as pan to me, and I literally, and he was dating a transsexual who was a girl turning into a boy. So it was, and this is in high school. So they were very young. They were 14, 15, or 16 at the time. And so it was still a she, and he was dating a girl, but she is turning into a boy. And so he actually said that he considered himself pan pansexual. And so that was new to me. And I'm like, oh, these kids, I don't know. I'm like, I'm making myself look old, but yeah.
A famous actor just came out as pan. What is his name? Jeez, I forgot the guy's name. He said he was pan.
I'm not familiar with that.
Pan, I think you love who you love,
yeah.
no matter the gender. Okay.
No, I think she's right. It didn't matter to him who he loved.
Okay.
And I think that's why the girl that he was with is turning into a man. So he didn't care either way if she was gonna stay a girl or transition into a boy.
Yeah.
He didn't care either way. So I think you're Hollywood right. Thanks. Educate me on the show. I'm supposed to know all the answers.
Now, a lot of the natives believe that there are two genders in one person. I think they believe that you can be a man and a woman on the inside. A lot of natives, if I'm not mistaken.
That wouldn't surprise me because I've dated a couple of Native Americans, and they were pretty open, pretty free, and there was no boundaries. From what I gathered, they were very open people, and I loved it. They embraced me pretty well, so I really enjoyed those relationships and friendships.
Now, I mean, let me ask you a tough question. How do you feel about these kids identifying as like fur babies, and they got to put litter boxes in the classrooms? And
do they really do that? Do they actually put the litter boxes in the classroom?
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, they doing that. So
well, I think that's a teacher call. I think that the teacher is allowing it to go a certain way. The furry thing, I don't necessarily believe the furry thing just relates to homosexuals.
Right.
I think that you just have a fetish of either dressing up as an animal, acting like an animal, and it may or may not be sexual. It may just be in a community. Okay. And there's actually just a movie I just saw about that, where a guy and he had a housemate, and the housemate was always a dog and dressed like a dog and always acted like a dog, never spoke. But of course, it was a horror movie, so there's a big twist. But anyway. Okay. But still, I don't think it doesn't necessarily relates to homosexuals. I think that's more of because I think almost exclusively what I've seen furries are male and female, like the male and female bears go after each other. But I could be, there could be a lot of furries that are homosexual as well. But I don't think it's definitely all on sex.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, from what I understand,
they're trying to blame it that way. They're trying to.
I think anyone that's different from them, they're afraid of. Usually, you're afraid of what's different from you and what you're comfortable with.
Right. What you're comfortable with. Right. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Are you seeing anyone right now? We get a little personal for a second. You're in a relationship right now?
I am not. I'm still really close with my ex. Okay. He lives in the Philippines, and very close with him. And I went out to actually meet him in person in the Philippines. So that was quite the adventure. And we're very close, but no, I'm not currently dating anybody.
Now, how is homosexuality looked at over there in that country? Because I know over in like some countries, they trying to Jamaica, some parts of Africa, they get violent towards people that's different. Like
I believe some Asian countries are like that. This one particular, no, it's wide open. It was very open. In fact, he and I held hands a lot throughout the whole city, which I thought I was afraid of myself, only because I was in a different culture. I had never been outside of North America my entire life until last year. So I didn't know how people would react. A lot of people carry guns there, more so than I've actually seen here. So I was a little afraid, but no, he wanted to hold my hand, and not a single person had a problem. Not in any neighborhood. We went from coast to coast, which is not too far because it's not the biggest islands. Yeah. But we went from coast to coast, and I never ran into any problems. People were very open there, and the people there are already super nice. Yeah. Everybody I encountered was absolutely like the best to me, and I loved every minute of being there.
Yeah, I've heard that about Shanghai, Bangkok. What's the other place over there? I heard they're very friendly people,
Yeah,
open people over that way. Yeah. How long
just
were
I
you
did
over
this
there
with the
for?
Philippines. I also went to Hong Kong. There was just a
Okay.
layover in Hong Kong, but in the Philippines, the people embraced me. I couldn't be more smiles there, and so I really love to be in there.
Okay. You think about moving over there?
I'd love to go back. I would definitely love to go back. I mean, I just loved every bit of it, and it's also a lot cheaper. It's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. What do they use the bot over there? Is that what they call the dollar?
Oh God, pesos. They do. It's a
Oh, they use
Filipino peso.
pesos. Okay,
It is a
Filipino
peso,
peso.
but it's Filipino pesos.
Okay.
But and it's everything's cheaper. Like I got a suite at a hotel for the entire week for $400
Damn.
for 7 nights, four hundred
Mm,
dollars, and you couldn't get that here for $400 a night.
no. Mm-mm.
So and it was a suite downtown, like beautiful view, windows on two sides of the room,
Wow.
with the swimming pool on the roof. I mean, it was luxurious, and to me, it was luxurious. But to them, it's like
Yeah.
$400 for the whole week. It's like that may have been a little expensive,
A little
not to me.
expensive.
And it
Right.
was
Yeah.
also the flight was only 1100 round trip.
Round trip. Jeez.
So and my advice is for anybody that wants to go. This is totally off subject. Make sure that you pick an Asian airline. They
Mm,
treat you way better than any domestic airlines like Delta or United. Because that's the people that on I was treated tremendously well on my flight, which was Cathay. I want to say it's Cathay, Cathay or something spelled like that, but it
mhm.
was an Asian airline, and everybody that I communicated with, they said, yeah, don't ever go domestic to Asia. It's always pick their Asian airlines because they give you the best service.
You get
So
you
that's
got
it.
you get did you get hot food, real food?
I got 3 meals for free,
Mhm.
all liquor for free, all
Wow.
alcohol for free, and they treated me. I was way in the back because $1,100 doesn't get you too far, but I was way
Mhm.
in the back. In fact, I was the last row, and they were very attentive, like I was in coach, or I was in not coach, but first class or business
First
class.
class.
They kept coming to me and super attentive to me, no matter what I needed.
How long a flight was that?
15 hours there. Oh,
Shit.
and 12 hours back because it's faster to go eastbound than it is to go westbound.
Mhm. Oh, I
And
don't know.
so, it's 15 hours there, and I can't sleep on planes. So I was up for a very, very long time. And that's just to Hong Kong. Then I still had to fly to the
Yeah,
Philippines.
over that water like that. I don't man, I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody keeps their shades closed. No
I
one
bet.
all day long, even though you're in the daylight,
Yeah.
no one has their shades open. So it's kind of nice and dark in there, and you can watch a movie. They have movies
Yeah.
on there on the chair in front of you.
Okay. Shit, y'all might be missing a UFO passing by or something like that.
Somebody opened the window once, and I'm like, oh, that must be important. So I opened my window, and then we were flying over Japan. In fact, we were flying over like a volcano that was active. All just steam coming out of it. But
Oh, wow.
so because you could look on your monitor and it tells you where you are in the world, and it says I'm going over Japan. And I'm like, hey, at least I saw Japan. I'm not stopping there,
Right,
but
at
at
least you
least
saw it.
yeah. And it was a mountain
Yeah.
that had like steam coming out of it. I'm like, that's what they were looking at.
Wow. Oh, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on here telling your story, man. We did
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. You coming on here, taking your time out. I always gotta ask this question. Give a teenager boy or girl out there that's can't talk to their mom or dad, can't really talk to their siblings, probably don't have any friends, in a dark place right now, looking for help, wanting help, can't get help. What advice would you give that person?
Seek out LGBTQ plus community. Go on Google, and if you can't do it, Google at home because if there's like search engine. Go to your local library. Seek out any kind of youth centers. Um, there's plenty of people like me out there that would be happy to talk to them, happy to help them, be a big brother, big sister, just a coach or whatever, or just a friend of listen, we're all like our community is very, close and open for anybody that questions themselves, and also that are not in a good situation at home or in their family. And we would never lead them astray. We wouldn't tell them to fight back. We would say, we find out what their situation is, what they can do, where they can go, and communities, because we will bend over backwards to help somebody embrace themselves, but also do it in a way that helps their situation, not just like fighting. But there's definitely communities out there that have centers almost in any major city, and I would encourage them to at least go to the library and use their search engine to find LGBTQ plus care centers or teen centers, and you'll find them, and they will call them right up, and they will help you right out, like a suicide hotline.
Yeah.
They'll be there for you anytime you need, and it's usually free. I mean, I can't imagine why you would have to pay for anything.
Right. What did she say? She said you can't discriminate against anyone. Well, you shouldn't discriminate against anyone. You can, but you shouldn't.
No, yeah, you shouldn't.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Unfortunately, a lot of people do for various reasons, religious reasons. And I was doing a deep dive on I didn't know this many transgender people were murdered in this country. Man, I'm talking.
Well, that's an unfortunate new.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Standpoint, and also drag queens that are supposedly doing things to kids. Yeah, unfortunately, that's been happening, especially in the political climate, because they don't have. It's very unpopular on either side of the aisle to go against gays, but for some reason, trans came up, and so now that's been a target.
Right.
Unfortunately, and it's just distraction. Anybody that gets on a podium and says we should go against whatever group of people.
Yeah.
It's just a distraction for the bad that they're doing themselves.
Right. Yep, I agree.
And they may not even believe it. They may not even believe it. They're just doing it for ratings or doing it for power, or bring it to stay in office.
Staying in office.
Because a lot of times I actually see these people on podiums yelling at different groups of people and saying, even if it's just immigrants, and just say the devils or whatever. Sometimes I believe they don't even believe that. They're just doing it just to stay in power, just to cater to their base. But it's still, they're doing enormous harm, whatever they're doing, just for that greed.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you an off the wall question. You think we'll ever see a gay president? I never thought I would live to see a black president. I saw one. You think it'll be a woman? You think it'll be a woman president first or a gay president?
I think there'd be a woman.
A woman.
I've always thought there'd be a black president first. Then I thought there would be a woman next. Because people are still on the men's side, they still want the men. So, like for Obama, but I think that the woman is next.
Okay.
And we almost had a gay president, Pete Buttigieg. If I'm pronouncing his last name right, he was gay, and he was a huge candidate. He was running in 2020, and he got beat out by Biden. Biden finally got the nomination, but he was one of the ones that then he became part of Biden's administration. So he's Homeland Security. I don't know exactly what his role is after that. I think it's Homeland Security. I don't know, but I know he became part of it. So he was there. He was in the running. We had a really diverse, like when the 2020 election, we had a really diverse group of Democrats, from women to gay men to all kinds running. And then I think the Democrats just went with the safest bet. I think that's all they did.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, HUD. Yep. Thank you. God, Holly knows like 10 times more than I do. She should have been your guest. Where is she? Why can't she be sitting right next to me?
She
whispering in my ear
on Google, but that's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have my computer in front of me. Yeah, HUD. Okay. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Holly.
So you say woman first, then we'll see.
I think so. But also, who knows what's going to happen with Biden if he does make it into the second term, and he passes away because of whatever reason, because of his age or whatever. Then we do have a female president.
Then we do have one. Yeah.
And I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'd like to see her as president too. But anyway, that's just not political, not to be political, but I'd love to see her as president.
Oh, okay. Hey, once again, I thank you. I thought it was important that we discuss this topic, knowing that it's the month of Pride. Maybe we can help someone. Always try to do shows, maybe put some type of information out there to help someone. I wish I had that number. I was looking for that number for teens that could call if they needed assistance or help with someone.
I don't, but definitely at least Google it, because there's definitely help in almost every major city.
Yeah,
and it's a good hotline to call, and they will be more than happy. We have really good people to help anybody that needs it. I would be willing to, talk to anybody.
Yep. Hey man, thank you once again. I'm gonna have to have you back on the show again because we got some. I want to talk some movies. We're gonna have to do another a sci-fi. Did we do sci-fi last time? Or we just
we did. We did top either top movies or top horror movies. I'm pretty sure it was top movies.
Yeah.
I think it was just the top and bottom movies. We ended up doing the bottom list as well.
Okay. Hey, I watched a really good movie. Side note from Nicolas Cage. It was like a post-apocalyptic movie. It's called Is it called Alchemy? It's really good.
Thanks. I haven't heard that one, but he does like 4 or 5 movies a year, so it's kind of hard to keep up with him.
And he doesn't have much dialogue in it. Maybe that's why it's so good. It's about him raising his sons, but it's a good movie though. Really good movie.
Thanks.
Yeah, check that out. Hey, but until next time, man, I appreciate you. You got any social media handles, anything you got going on you want to shout out before we go?
I really don't. I'm on Facebook. At the same name, so you can look me up and the same face, so you can see me. But I don't really actually have any other social medias at this time. But thank you.
Yeah,
and thanks for having me. This really means a lot, and I hope it is helpful to other people that are in need.
Yeah, I'll send you this video, and you can send it out and let people share it, and hopefully, they'll be able to watch it. And
thank you
from it, man. Thank you. Until next time, man. Have a great weekend. Okay.
Thanks. You too.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes. My guy Steve on the check-in. This No Anonymity Podcast. Friday, y'all know how we do. Good topic. Shout out to the LGBT community celebrating Pride. This show was brought to you by another good cologne. This is Afro Amaro Black. Smells really good. You can pick that up any retail store. And until next time, y'all know how we do, man. I'm up out of this thing, man. It's been interesting. Learned a lot. Embrace everybody. Love everybody. Laugh more. Stop being so goddamn judgmental. All right. Peace and love, y'all. And I'm out. Well, I thought I was out. Now I'm out. Where's the mouse? I'm out of here. Peace.